Line Blitz event. This time it was this event was put on by the Flesh and Blood UK community. Lots of fun to be had here. So this time we are looking at the finals, and we are going to have Ira versus Ira here. Um, should be an interesting game. Let's see. Let's see how this one goes. So we're gonna see two Ira players, and one of them I believe is actually Dante, who was the winner of the online sealed event, the online Arcane Rising sealed event where he was playing Mechanologist. But this time he is fielding the infamous Ira. Both players playing Ira here. I have not seen these decks, so I am not 100% sure what their exact builds are going to be, but it should be pretty interesting. So I think we have Dante and Chris. So Dante on the left, Chris on the right, and so we're seeing what looks like some fairly standard gameplay here. We got the first turn, Dante starting off with two Kodachi pokes into a Torrent of Tempo. It is going to be blocked out by Chris, though he does use both of his fine centers to do so. So he will not be going for the Zen State combo this game. Dante then puts a defense reaction into Arsenal, and Chris draws up, improperly drawing an extra card there. Puts it on top. Okay. That's not really good. Okay, they do shuffle, so that's like, yeah, it's slightly bad to do this because it does mess up with the pitch, but it's better than knowing what the next card is, especially when there's cards like Sink Below that could be relevant. Ooh, no, okay, he takes his Tunic. Got it. So he had forgotten to take his Tunic. He was about to do that, then he realized it, and goes in here with a swing. And let's see what's going to happen next. What is happening here? Okay, Dante lets it in. Second swing coming in for 2. This is the strength of Ira. So Ira Crimson Haze, her ability makes it so that the second weapon swing or the second attack that you do in a turn gets +1. It is going to be countered by a Flick Flack. Great card to use against another Ira. This blue Flick Flack only blocks for 2, but that's enough to fully block a attack for a second attack there. And then if the next card you defend this turn is a card with combo, it gets +2. So it can amp up the defense for the next swing. In this case, the next swing is just a Fluster Fist coming in for 2. So improving the defense with that Flick Flack, not really going to be that relevant. Interestingly, we do see another Flick Flack used there. And then it looks like it's going to be an Arsenal and pass. Okay, so I think all things considered, that's not so bad for Chris. He did get rid of he got rid of two strong defense reactions, and the Flick Flacks didn't do their bonus damage. He also did get 1 damage through. Dante, on the other hand, is going to be able to do I think there's a good chance. We'll see what happens here. He can do Soul Bead Strike, 2 Kodachi swings into an E Strike potentially, or he could Arsenal a defense reaction and pass. So first one blocked, second one, or first one let through. So typically what you're going to do against these Kodachi swings is you're going to let the first one in and try to block the second one to shut down the opponent's Mask of Momentum. So let's see what's going on here. Yeah, so he's going to play a red Sink Below. So again, kind of overkill, but maybe that's just what you got to do in this situation. And then it's going to be E Strike, probably E Strike 7. Okay, and then that's going to be it's going to be blocked for 1 with Breaking Scales. And is that it? Yeah, okay. So that's a surprise to me. Chris letting through a lot of damage here. I think he's going to try to go for a big turn of his own. But these decks have a lot of defensive power, so it can be risky to let in a big hit. Oh, he does have the Sigil of Solace in his arsenal, though, which can heal him for 3. So that might be a good option to use to recoup some of the damage that was just inflicted. And he's probably thinking about that when he's playing out his next turn. To me, it looks like this turn is probably... Okay, yeah, once again, he starts to pitch, and then he's like, wait, got to take my Tunic. Let's see what's going to happen next. All right. So then, what do we got here? Okay. It's going to be a single. This is very interesting. A single Kadachi poke coming into a Soul Bead Strike for 5. Interesting move there. So if this hits, it gains Go Again. It gets the +1 from Ira, so it is coming in for 5. And that does actually mean that it's going to be difficult to defend against. You can't block with a single defense reaction. Ooh. And then the Snapdragon Scalar is used here to give it Go Again. And then play a Flying Kick for 7. Nice. Very aggressive turn there from Chris. So he's coming in there with a lot of damage. Dante, I think, is very likely going to use that Sink Below and send that Razor Reflex in his hand to the bottom of the deck so that he can go through and try to find something a little better. No, he's going to just double block it. So he's going to have just a dead turn next turn with nothing left in hand. He takes 1 damage from the Flying Kick, but it will not trigger a Mask Draw because that second attack was blocked. So neither player has landed a 3 hits in a row turn for their Mask of Momentum. But that was Chris definitely has the momentum now, even though he's lower on life. We might see Dante use his Tunic to swing a Karachi for 1 damage. But it looks like he opts not to do that and is instead just gonna draw up a new hand. This could be the chance, though. Chris has the ability to do yet another aggressive hand. We could easily see him pitch Crane Dance, 2 Kadachi swings into Tunic or pitch Tempo for Flying Kick. Or he could go for the Torrent of Tempo. He really has a lot of options, and he's going to be able to throw a lot more damage out this turn and really maybe keep Dante on the defensive. We'll have to see. So that Snapdragon Scalar's activation, allowing him to go very aggressive. He is below on life, but he has the tempo lead now for sure. So we're going to see him go into a second Kadachi swing coming in for 7. Or I'm sorry, for 2. I was thinking of the I think it's going to be followed up by a Flying Kick for 7. Probably pitching the Torrent of Tempo, and then he puts CNC in Arsenal. But he could also use his Tunic for it. It is going to be blocked with a Springboard Somersault from hand. A little awkward, but if you're going to use a card to block a Kadachi swing for 2 from Ira, a Springboard Somersault is good enough. So it is going to shut that down. We're not going to see the Mask of Momentum triggering. And then Chris here thinking about his next play. What's going to happen next? Pierce48, thank you for the follow. I've actually had several people have followed, I think maybe before this stream even started. So let's just do some quick shout outs. Shout outs to the new followers. Raphael Zero, Camo Hero. I'm not going to pronounce the French correctly, but Polyp Adventurer or whatever. Big Bang Ziu. Big Bang Saya. Pierce. Yeah, so then shout out to those new followers. But yeah, Dante, so Chris keeps the aggression up here. And Dante, once again, going to have a very limited turn. This time he is at least going to be able to get those Kadachi swings in. But yeah, it's tough. And yeah. And interestingly, we did go for the Torrent of Tempo there from Chris rather than the Flying Kick or the CNC. I was sort of expecting him to do one of those and also to trigger his Sigil of Solace and put another card in Arsenal so that he can draw up more. But for whatever reason, he did not choose to do that. He has a pretty bad energy this turn, but he does still have that Tunic. So he is, I think... Yeah, so if he pitches then this for another Kadachi swing, and then he pitches his CNC and uses Tunic, he is going to be able to do the Flying Kick. I do think it would have been better to use that Sigil of Solace to heal up, but yeah. And yeah, the player on the left is Dante, and the player on the right is Chris. So yeah, as expected, Dante blocks the second one, and then Chris is going to use his Tunic and pitch that CNC Flying Kick coming in for 7. Chris really has the initiative here, but Dante's heavy blocking is keeping him from taking very much damage. And if we look at the life totals, Chris let some damage through on that last turn in order to be able to do a big turn despite having all reds. So it is a situation here where I think that Dante might be in a position to potentially get an advantage just through grinding some more damage out with his Kadachi pokes. It looks like this turn is going to be another 2 Kadachi pokes. And Chris has got to be careful because even though he's well ahead on tempo, it's possible that Dante is going to one of these turns just take the damage and come back with a huge combo and kind of regain the initiative. Now, on the other hand, one thing that Chris still has going for him, I mentioned this earlier, but one thing that Chris still has going for him is that he does have those he has 2 copies of Sigil of Solace now, one in Arsenal and one in hand. He uses a sync below here. He might actually sync the CNC. The CNC isn't good here because his opponent doesn't have cards in Arsenal. On the other hand, he might want to save it. Looks like he is going to save it. Yeah. And I really do think I really do think that Chris should be taking his healing here and drawing more cards, because it looks like he may now be running low on tempo. He's coming in with a Kadachi. Ooh. Kadachi into a CNC for 7. Now, CNC for 7 is a very strong play, but it's a lot weaker in this situation, and the reason that I say that is simply that there isn't a card in Arsenal to destroy. So Dante is able to block for 6. He will take 1 from that CNC 7, but because there's nothing in Arsenal, that's an okay consequence. Whereas if that play was being made while he still had a card in Arsenal, it would probably force out an equipment block, likely from that Breaking Scales. Nevertheless, Dante still does block with 2 cards, so he is getting pretty low. We might see him able to use Whirling Mist Blossom here to potentially get the card draw, which could be very threatening. The problem is that he doesn't have anything to threaten an attack reaction and force a potential overblock here. Dante... Oh, and one of the Sigils of Solace has been used. There is still the one in Arsenal, but now the life totals are looking pretty similar. And it's now going to be 12-10 after Chris takes this hit. And Chris is far ahead of Dante right now, I feel. He is a little behind on life, but his tempo advantage is very significant. Whirling Mist Blossom is going to coming in for 3, blocked for 3, and then a Kadachi poke for 1. Chris probably will just take that. On the plus side, Dante did manage to chip in 2 damage this turn with those Kadachi pokes, so he is wearing down his opponent slowly, but he's facing much more powerful attacks. And this turn, I think we're going to see, this is going to be very dangerous, actually. This is going to be very dangerous for Dante. I think what we're going to see here is Chris going pitch, Kadachi, play this Torrent of Tempo, and he'll have the Ancestral Empowerment for a potential buff. So pitches the Rushing River. So this Torrent of Tempo is going to come in for 5 if it hits go again, and he's going to be able to buff it with Ancestral Empowerment. Target Ninja attack action card gains +1 and draw a card, which will then potentially that extra card, if it's an attack, could just be thrown on there to deal even more damage, or Chris could use the healing item that he has in Arsenal and then replace his draw there, potentially. So there's really a lot of threat here. Drone of Brutality being used to block the second one. Drone is a very efficient block for the second Kadachi hit, so it only blocks for 2, but if it would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, instead put it on the bottom of your deck. So this is a card that's really good in a drawn-out game, which we sometimes see with the Ira control decks. Both players playing, I think, a fairly control Ira. You know, there may be some differences in the list. You know, maybe one of them's a little more mid-range. You know, maybe one of them's a little more aggressive, but both still packing a lot of defense reactions and a lot of defensive play with Ira. And this really is the most popular archetype of Blitz right now. We see, he blocks only for 3. And then the Ancestral Empowerment comes out, hits, and it's going to be another Torrent of Tempo. So he is going to have to go again. I think that he was planning to play the Springboard Somersault from hand to block the rest of it, maybe, but then it was denied. But the problem is that Chris now doesn't have the energy to actually play the Torrent of Tempo that he just drew. He can't really do anything with it because his Tunic isn't up. So what he needs to do now is use his Sigil of Solace and then put it in Arsenal, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Sigil of Solace being used by Chris. And we are going to see the Healing 3 and now card in Arsenal. And now Chris has really cemented his lead, I feel, in terms of now he is not only ahead by a lot on tempo, he is also ahead by a fair amount on life as well. So Dante really on the back foot here. We're going to see if he's going to manage to recover, but he doesn't have a great turn. He could, I think his best option might be to put that Springboard Somersault in Arsenal this turn if he wants to defend. The problem is it's going to mean that he does another non-aggressive turn. He could also, so I think he's going to go for that. He's going to throw out his Soul Bead Strike here, coming in for 4, and if it hits, go again. If it hits, he can, in fact, he could use his Tunic to do a Kadachi swing. I don't know. I don't think that's so good. I think he's hoping that his opponent blocks heavily here. And Chris is, wow, Chris blocking with his Tunic. So Dante did successfully get his opponent to block heavily with that Soul Bead Strike. I personally would not, I think I would have just let him have the go again, just because there's not that much that he can do with it with only one card left. But that's not what Chris did. So Chris blocked with his Tunic, keeping his, he's keeping that tempo up in some ways, but I don't know that I would have gone that far. We'll see how this goes, though. I don't think he needed to block with his Tunic, and it was about to give him another energy. I don't know that I think he was a little early with that Tunic block, quite frankly. But it may be that he's trying to just like do whatever he can to maintain his momentum. He's getting rid of stuff, and he's just coming in with more swings here. He is going to keep attacking, but now Dante. The one good thing about that turn, also for Dante, actually it's more than one good thing. So one good thing was that his opponent blocked with Tunic, but another good thing for Dante is that he now has a defense reaction loaded into Arsenal, which is going to give him a relatively good position in some ways. So we're going to see an E-Strike here. It's either going to be E-Strike 5 go again, or it's going to be E-Strike 7. E-Strike 5 go again would allow a follow-up with that Torrent of Tempo. There wouldn't be anything to do with the potential go again from the Torrent of Tempo, but it would be a lot more damage coming in that Dante would have to respond to. So we're going to see a Springboard Somersault played. Okay, so that's going to block for 4. And looks like 1 gets in. So yeah, it was the E-Strike 5 go again, and he's going to go in with the Torrent of Tempo. Oh, and actually it's a yellow Torrent of Tempo, not a red, so it's only coming in for 4 damage here. But we are going to see it, and we're going to see it countered by a Flick Flag. Okay. This could be Dante's chance to get some momentum back. Chris just did a big attack, didn't get that much through. Dante is behind on life, but Chris no longer has an Arsenal card, and Dante is going to be able to throw out an E-Strike 7 if he wants here, which will likely either do some damage or force some cards out, but he's not doing it. What is he thinking? This is a big surprise to me. This is a big surprise to me from Dante. So he's gonna throw out, he pitches the E-Strike instead of playing it, throws out a Kadachi swing, and then is gonna come in with the second Kadachi swing for 2, but he's not gonna be able to play his CNC, and while he does get it put into Arsenal, he just hasn't taken that much tempo away from his opponent here. I don't know. I'm not sure about that play. On the other hand, the hand that we see here from Chris is non-aggressive. Can you grab that for me? I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, he lost his Kadachi. Yeah, and they're going to have me get it so that they don't have to search their deck. Okay. Z the B says, these players have huge brains. These moves are really interesting. So I actually think Chris may have made a slight error here. I would not have blocked with the Springboard Somersault. So Springboard Somersault, if it's played from Arsenal, gets +2. It's a good defensive card. I would have just blocked with one of these yellow Soul Bead Strikes, because he probably won't be able to play both of them in this turn. And then he can put the Springboard Somersault into Arsenal and be prepared to survive against what could be a big attack turn from Dante, because Chris is just not generating that much threat on this turn. Dante, interestingly, he blocks with a Flying Kick. Okay, that's fine. He's going to be able to do the CNC 7 next turn, so that's pretty sweet. We now see the Soul Bead Strike coming in for 3, and if it hits, go again. So one funny thing about this is that if he doesn't block this, if Dante doesn't block this, Chris can just throw out the other Soul Bead Strike and just do some potential more damage. But because Dante has such an awkward hand with those 2 Sigil of Solace, if he blocks, he's going to lose the one card that he needs to pitch. Oh, how awkward. So he does go for the block, and he is going to shut that down, but now he's not going to be able to play that CNC unless he pitches both of the Sigil of Solaces in his hand. And if he does that, he will not have them to heal. And quite frankly, I think he could really use the healing since he's so far behind on life right now. It's a very interesting situation here. I honestly, I felt like Chris was strongly ahead earlier, but I'm not as confident in his position now. Dante heals back up to 11, and but the thing is, Chris still does have the tempo. So Chris has the tempo, but Chris has used up his Tunic, in my opinion, unnecessarily, has used his Scalers, and has used his block from breaking scales. So Dante is actually now ahead on life if you count armor. And additionally, he has more equipment stuff left to use. So Chris has really got to keep the pressure on. If Chris lets up the pressure, Dante is going to overwhelm him, I feel. And both players are getting kind of close to fatigue also, with 10 cards left in the deck for Dante and 14 for Chris. Dante does however have at least one Drone of Brutality. Okay, so then Kadachi swing for one. Oh man, this could be dangerous. This could be dangerous. I think we're gonna see this Soulbead Strike for 4 come in, and then it's probably gonna be buffed up by that Ancestral Empowerment to sneak in over 4 defense and draw a card, which could be quite bad for Dante. So then, no, he's going for the Soulbead Strike for 3 here. Oh, you know what? He may think that this way his opponent will block with a card and he can still sneak in, whereas if he plays the red one, the opponent might double block. That is interesting. You know, I don't think that's totally unreasonable. I think that it would be more likely that he would block with one card and use Breaking Scales, but I could be wrong. In any case, that Ancestral Empowerment does go off, giving him the extra card, and it does look like it's going to land the hit. Dante doesn't have any defense reactions. He doesn't have any way to stop this. So that Soulbead Strike is going to land the hit. And that means that 1 damage gets through against Dante. And now it means that there's going to be the Go Again does trigger. So, and he still has an energy floating. He's trying to decide between 2 cards. Ends up going for the Soulbead Strike for 4, the red Soulbead Strike for 4. I think in this situation, I would have gone... It's tough to say. I think I would have gone with the Torrent of Tempo yellow for 4, because he did have the 1 energy floating. So if Dante stops this one, which he can do easily with a card plus equipment, the energy is going to be wasted. Whereas if he throws out this one, he'll have the red that comes in for the same damage but for 0 cost for next turn, and he could put the Springboard Somersault in Arsenal. Yeah, as predicted, we see the Breaking Scales coming out plus a card to stop that. And so that 1 energy does end up getting wasted. He will have the yellow Torrent of Tempo, which is going to be a better pitch value, but because it's not a 0 cost, it isn't as good at fueling his next turn. It isn't as good as fueling his next turn as you might think. You really want to be pitching something that costs 0 so that you can Go Again with your Kadachi. So I think that playing the Torrent would have been better. In chat here, we see Z the Bee agrees with me. He says Torrent seems better to play. Yeah, I'm with you there, Z. I'm with you there. Oh, and here comes the infamous CNC 7. This is not going to be able to be... Oh, man. I actually don't think Dante can stop this. Or I don't think Chris can stop this. I don't think he can do it. He has too many defense reactions in hand, and he used his armor unnecessarily. He has 2 defense reactions in hand and 1 in arsenal. Yeah, so he could stop it by breaking his Mask of Momentum. That's the only way that he can actually stop this attack. He would have to block with both those cards and break Mask of Momentum. No, I think you have to let yourself get hit. He'll lose too much tempo. I think he has to let himself get hit. But I could be wrong. The problem is he can't really afford to block with anything, and taking 7 damage would be very extreme at this point. I don't know. This is actually a pretty bad situation. Quite frankly, this is a pretty bad situation for Chris to be in. He had an unlucky draw here, so this Command and Conquer, defense reactions can't be played to its chain link, and if it hits, it will destroy Arsenal. And unfortunately, because it is coming in for 7 with the +1 from Ira, your second attack each turn gains +1, coming in for 7, this would be a great situation to block with your Tunic if he still had it, but he used it early. So this could be Dante's chance to get back in the game. Yeah, Z the Bee says CNC just at the right time here for Dante. Big Medsy says block 3 and take the hit. So the problem is if he blocks with either of his cards, his next turn is going to be non-aggressive. He really needs both of those cards. Oh, is he going to block with his mask? No, yes, he is. Wow. He blocks with everything. He loses his mask. He has saved the defense reaction in Arsenal, but his next turn, all he can do is pitch those defense reactions to do 2 Kadachi swings. This could be Dante's chance to get back in the game. Even though Chris hasn't taken the damage and hasn't lost that card in Arsenal, he just lost a lot of tempo. There's another Command and Conquer. There's another Command and Conquer in Dante's hand. We could see the same thing happen again. This is a very dangerous situation for Chris. And this next time, he's not going to be able to stop it. He doesn't have any more equipment left. He'll have to block with 3 cards if he wants to stop a CNC 7. This is a very bad situation for Chris. He is really in trouble now, I feel, actually. Because Dante is going to be able to pitch that blue card, swing with a Kadachi, CNC 7, and Arsenal a sink below. Not only generating a ton of threat against Chris, but also putting a defense reaction in Arsenal for his own defense. This could be really bad for Chris. There are 7 cards left in deck versus 9 cards in deck. Chris is ahead when it comes to... Oh, wow. But he has his own Command and Conquer. He might turn around and just do the exact same play to his opponent. This is wild. 1 damage is coming through, and we are going to see the CNC 7. CNC 7. Dante can't stop this, or I'm sorry, Chris can't stop this unless he blocks with every single card in his hand except that Flick Flack. I don't think it's worth it. He has to take the hit. I think you block with one of your cards. You block with one card, take 4, then on your turn you pitch the blue and you do your own CNC7 and then put Flick Flack in Arsenal. And I think that's a pretty good way to try to recover some tempo here. Okay. Very interesting situation here. Z the B says CNC just at the right time here for Dante. Yeah, I feel, yeah. And yeah, that springboard somersault getting destroyed. So this is now, it's looking good for Dante. Was it 9-9? Oh, but he took I thought he was at 10, but he took a Kadachi poke first, I guess. Okay, so then, yeah, this is Chris's chance to pull the exact same move that has just been done against him, but I think that Dante is going to be able to maybe stop it. Yeah, Kadachi into CNC7. So the thing is, this time, though, Dante does still have some equipment, and because Dante has some equipment, he could either do a triple block here or a block. If he's willing to lose his own mask, he could block with one card plus the drone plus the mask, or he could block with 2 cards plus the drone, and since the drone comes back, it's not that bad. Yeah, he blocks with, okay, 2 cards plus drone, but it is going to destroy that tempo advantage that he just had. On Dante's own turn, all he's going to be able to do is do his 2 Kadachi swings, and Chris has a defense reaction in Arsenal as well. So Dante loses the tempo that he just gained, and ironically losing it to the exact same play that he had made against his opponent. And it looks like Chris is going to be able to do like 2 swings into an E-Strike or something, which is still pretty threatening. Dante is low on cards, 5 cards left in deck. Chris only has 6. This is probably going to be blocked. So 1 Kadachi poke does get in. Dante has a substantial life advantage, though. He still has all his equipment. Flick Flack used stops that, and then there's no follow-up. There's no follow-up, and now we're now going to see Chris likely going to go 2 Kadachi swings into an E-Strike 7, I think. 2 Kadachi swings into an E-Strike 7, and he can still put the Flick Flack on the, and he can still put the Flick Flack into Arsenal. So I think he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Z the B, I don't know if this game is timed. The other games in this event were timed, but I don't know if this one is because it is the finals. Ooh, Dante is trying to get his opportunity. Dante blocking with his mask to try to retake tempo here. He realizes that with his opponent at 4 life, it's unlikely that the mask is actually going to trigger, and he blocks with the mask, and then an E-Strike for 7, I believe, but Dante he can defend against this. He can defend with 1 card plus the defense reaction in Arsenal, shut down the E-Strike 7, and he will still have a 3-card hand, allowing him to do his own E-Strike. So he'll potentially be able to do 2 swings into an E-Strike 7 himself if he pitches. Yeah, he can do 2 Kadachi swings and then E-Strike 7, so that's going to be a lot of pressure on Chris. This is a very interesting game. Dante was in trouble earlier, but I think he may now have the opportunity to take the advantage. We'll see what Chris ends up drawing and if he's able to stop this stuff. Not sure what's going on here. They're putting some stuff back out. Big Metzi informs us the final is not timed, so we're not going to see this, and that's good. Games going to time are generally pretty unhype, so hopefully we're going to see this one going to a natural conclusion. Sorry about that, guys. Chris here drawing a very defensive hand with no strong attack cards, but that might be just what he needs to survive this attack. And Dante is going to fatigue out. After this turn, he's not going to draw a full hand, I feel. Yeah, there's no way he can do it. But at the same time, he's threatening a lot of damage to Chris. 1 damage gets through. We do have a blue Flick Flack here. That's probably going to be used against the second Kadachi swing. Blue Flick Flack would be an ideal card to use here. Because it does block the swing completely and also give the next card potentially +2 for the defense. And now I think we're going to see... Oh no, he goes for the drone. Does not play E-Strike. Goes for the drone. So coming in for 6. This could be blocked for 5 with one of those combo cards, because of the Flick Flack, and then he could throw in something else if he wanted to, or he could just take 1. Probably you just take 1. No, I don't think it's worth it to play a Fate Foreseen just to block 1 damage. I think that's really overdoing it, especially when you're this close to fatigue. I actually think this is really, really, imprudent. Your opponent is also fatiguing out, but I think that it is not worth it to spend a card to save 1 damage at this time. Big Metzi says, I don't think he's taken into account the flick flack, but he may not have realized he was blocking for 5 and thought he needed to block with 2 cards. Very unfortunate if true. Very unfortunate if true. So Dante is fatiguing out a little faster than Chris, but Dante has that Drone of Brutality, which he can keep using. And Dante still has some equipment. I don't know. I think Dante might take this. I think Dante might take this. Because he has 2 Drones of Brutality. He can keep blocking. Yeah, I actually think Dante's going to win. I think that I think those Drones of Brutality are going to allow him to keep up a defense. I think that Chris has blocked not in the way that I would consider to necessarily be the best, and Dante still has some equipment, still has an E-Strike there, and is going to be able to generate a lot more threat. So I think that it was looking really bad for Dante in the mid game. Chris felt like he really had control of the game, but it does seem to me like Dante is going to be able to make the comeback and win. We'll have to see what happens. Chris down to 2 life. But those Drones of Brutality are just going to, I think, be able to grind out the game here because they just keep coming back. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. Here comes the E-Strike. Probably an E-Strike 5 go. Oh, no. He'll do an E-Strike 7. He'll do an E-Strike 7 here because he has the Snapdragon Scalers. So he can do E-Strike 7, use his Snapdragon Scalers, and then play the Drone of Brutality and hit his opponent really hard here. So it's going to be a block for 3 and a Flick Flack. Oh, Flick Flack is great here. Flick Flack is so excellent here. And then... Or... Wait a minute here. He didn't use the Scalers. Was that E-Strike 5 go again? Oh, no, he used it. Okay, he just hasn't discarded it. Okay. Wow, 2 cards being used. Oh, no. Chris is making the same mistake this turn that he did last turn. He over-defends the Drone of Brutality very heavily, and now he's going to be in big trouble, I think. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think he's forgotten his Flick Flack bonus again and defended with 2 cards when he only needed 1 and could have let 1 damage through. I don't know. It doesn't look good to me. Karachi for 1, but it gets in. Karachi for 2. It could just be blocked by a drone. Or it can get in, but like his opponent could just let this happen. Yeah, he blocks with the drone. The drone is going to come back. Dante can just keep playing Drone of Brutality and he's won the game. Chris doesn't have any more threats in his deck. And these Drones of Brutality are just going to kill him. He has to block with both his cards and then he's dead. That's going to be the game. Drone of Brutality carrying the game here for Dante. So this was a big comeback game. You know, we really saw Chris taking the advantage in the mid game. He really felt like he had the momentum, had things going on, but Dante here is going to be the winner. Those Drones of Brutality allowed Dante to come back from a situation where he otherwise would have fatigued out and allow him to take the win, coupled with, I think, some maybe questionable plays from Chris. I do think some of the defense from Chris was not optimal, and I think that he used his equipment too early, but it looked, from Chris's standpoint, I think he must have thought, I'm using this equipment, but it's buying me a commanding position. And he was in a commanding position for quite some time in the mid game, with Dante just kind of desperately defending as Chris throws big turn after big turn at him. But in the end, Dante was able to turn it around. Drone of Brutality, probably the MVP here for Dante, as Z the B says in chat. The fact that this card comes back to the bottom of your deck instead of going to the graveyard allowed Dante to block with it and replay it multiple times, allowing him to prevent from fatiguing out when otherwise he would have run out of cards in deck and lost. Very interesting game. Congratulations to Dante for the victory, and this was the finals of the tournament. So Dante is going to win another tournament, guys. So Dante was the winner of the Arcane Rising Sealed event, also held by the Flesh and Blood UK community, and now he has won this second event as well. This was a constructed event, not sealed, as is probably evident from the power level of the decks here, but he has won this event as well. So congratulations to Dante with the second tournament win here in a short period of time. And just a quick shout out here. So this tournament was organized by the Flesh and Blood UK community. They have been putting together several events. This is an online Blitz event, a lot of fun. It was played, this one was just, you could play any cards that you wanted. You didn't have to show pictures of what cards that you own or whatever. You can just build whatever deck you like. There was an entry fee, but there was also some prize support. So as the winner, Dante is going to be taking home a playmat, a cold foil promo weapon, and 6 Welcome to Wraith Unlimited booster packs. So congratulations to Dante for his win. And Chris will be taking home a cold foil promo weapon, some extended art promo cards from the Armory kit, and 4 booster packs. So congratulations to both these players, and thank you also to the Flesh and Blood UK community organizers who have put on this event. This was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to future online events. Do you guys have any questions or comments for me before we close out the stream here? Oh, and I just accidentally did something that made my chat disappear. So if anyone has any questions or comments, you have to ask them now. If you ask them in the last bit, I'm afraid that I missed them. However, very interesting game here. Good showcase of how Dante was running those drones of brutality and Chris wasn't, and that really ended up being a very decisive factor that allowed Dante to make the big comeback. So in the chat, Hamertron says, thanks for streaming the final, great commentary, much appreciated, man. I like doing these. Once again, I found myself not playing in the final. I would have preferred to make the final myself, maybe, but given that I did not do that, I do enjoy commentating these games. I'm gonna leave this one as a little surprise for future events, but I was running in this event I was running a deck that I think has what it takes to beat Ira. So make of that what you will. I'm not going to disclose my full deck list at this time, but I was running a deck that I think has what it takes to beat Ira, and maybe I'll get a chance to demonstrate that in future events. Unfortunately, I did not actually end up playing against any Iras today, so my counter pick strategy may not have ended up being that effective. I did end up going 3-1, so it wasn't terrible, but I didn't do so hot on the strength of schedule and didn't make the cut, sadly. But in the future, I'm hoping that I can put up some results with my anti-Ira deck and see if it has what it takes to take down the Ira meta. All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for this broadcast. Thanks again for watching. And as I was saying earlier, props to the tournament organizers. Shout out to Big Medsea, shout out to Barum. They've been involved in organizing a bunch of events for the UK community here. And a lot of these are online events that are going to be able for people in many places to play. Also, shout out to the sponsor, Boards and Swords Hobby in Derby in the United Kingdom, sponsored this event. And I believe the entry fees went to them, and I believe they are doing the prizes. So thanks to that store for doing that. I really like to see these stores that are doing online armory events. In a lot of these places, because of the virus situation, it would be imprudent or unsafe to hold events in person, but we've seen several stores kind of step up to the plate, do some online events. So shout out to Boards and Swords Hobbies in the UK for sponsoring this one, and I'm hoping that we start seeing more game stores picking this up. Even if they can't necessarily run the event in person, they can still do a fun online tournament, get some people in, maybe even some people that otherwise wouldn't visit the store. I would be very unlikely to visit a game store in the UK under normal circumstances, but through the magic of the internet here, I was able to play in the event. So lots of fun, guys. Thanks to the stores, thanks to the sponsors, thanks to the players, and congratulations, Dante, for another tournament win. That's going to do it, guys, and we'll be back later with some more Flesh and Blood content. We are also probably going to do some Star Wars Legion streams one of these days. I know I've been saying that, but I do intend to get back to that at some point. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back later with some more Flesh and Blood content, as well as perhaps some Star Wars Legion.